Hi everybody, and welcome to the first in a series of webcasts on how you can build your own Google site by using the new revamped interface for Google Sites. So to begin, what we're going to do is go into our Chrome browser, and we're actually going to type in the address for the old Google Sites. So that's sites.google.com. Now you want to be sure that you're logged into your ER9 account, and you're going to see that this is the old format for Google Sites. Many people considered this rather difficult to use as a lot of the menu options were hidden and hard to find. So what we're going to do is actually use the new version, the new interface that they've put together for us, which is actually much more user-friendly and a lot more intuitive. So I'm going to end up clicking here on New Google Sites. And when I do that, it's going to bring me to my new Google Sites account. Now you can see here I already have a couple sites started. Some of them are student portfolios. One is for our JBEA. And then I also have one that I use for our American Association of Teachers of French. When you open up yours, you might be prompted by a welcome sign, and you just want to click through that till you get to this page. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to start and we're going to click a brand new web page. So to do that, we're going to click on this red button down here on the lower right hand corner. And when we do that, it's going to bring us to a general template that we're going to use to build our website. So here we have the welcome page for the website. And this is the title of the welcome page that the student or parent is going to see. So you obviously want to think about what you want to name this and the image you're going to use and how you're going to have this structured. So one of the things that you hopefully will do or will have done as you're watching this video is to just sit down with pen and paper and try to sketch out what would be the design, what's going to be your main page, what will be your sub pages, and what will be the title of those pages. So here on this one, what we're going to do is we're just going to create a general class page. So I'm going to do this for myself, and I'm actually going to make a website for a particular class. So I'm going to call this my French 6 class. And you'll notice that when I start entering the text, you get a menu up here. So I can either change the style. So right now it's automatically selected as title. I can make it a heading or a subheading if I choose. I can also make the alignment different. If I wanted to be more stylistic, I could move the box around and move the alignment. I could also put a hyperlink to this text, or if I'm not happy with it, I can just delete it altogether. I'm actually going to leave this just for now, but I want you to notice that while I'm in the text box and it's activated, you'll see that there are 2 buttons on either side. This would allow me to make the box bigger. So for example, if I did a combined class or I had a long title and it's going to be French 6 and French AP, you'll notice when I typed it put it onto 2 separate lines, but I actually want to make it all on one line, so I'm going to grab that blue circle and I'm actually going to drag it as far over to the guideline as it'll go, and you'll see that it snapped. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. I'm going to go over here and you'll see I'm almost there, so I'm actually going to try to drag it all the way, and let's see if it'll do it for me. Here it's not going to do it for me, so I'm going to have to find another way. I'm going to take the spaces out. There we go. We've got it all on one line. So this is my title, and you can see in the background I have a very nondescript gray image. Now I can change that, and I do that by going over to this menu here. Now notice if I mouse off of that header, it disappears. But if I go back onto it with the mouse, you'll notice that it comes back. So a lot of times the menus will pop up as you go over certain text boxes, images, and so forth on the website. So don't panic if all of a sudden you're missing a menu. So I'm going to go over here, I'm going to click on the change image, and when I do that, it's going to bring up this box. Now you'll see at the top I've got a couple selections that I can go through. So there's the gallery, which has some preloaded images, and these tend to be stock images that Google puts out. There's also some patterns, and if you go all the way down, patterns get a little more complex. You could also upload an image that you may already have on your desktop. If you have a web address or URL, you can put that in this box, or you can do a search. If you want to use from your albums, you can do that as well. And you can also search from your Google Drive. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go back and I'm going to use the search feature. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to type in a search term. I want to probably use a city scene. So I'm going to choose the city of Chamonix. And we'll see what comes up. All right, so we have some nice options here. Now, something to consider when you are choosing a picture, you want it to be more of a horizontal picture with a horizontal orientation and less of a vertical orientation. The picture will fit better within the website. So I'm going to scroll down until I find something that I like. Let's try this one with the chalet in the background. Now, all of the pictures that come up for you to use are free write pictures, meaning you can use those. They are not copyrighted, so you will not be getting in trouble for using any of those pictures. I'm going to hit select, and you'll notice that it sizes the picture for me, and it's also adjusting the readability. So you notice how the picture just got a little bit darker, and that's so that the white lettering of French 6, French AP would stand out more. So you can play around with that, maybe play around with different pictures until you finally get the look that you want. You can turn off that readability adjustment setting by clicking on this icon. Now you notice it got brighter again, but by doing that, here with the white of the snow and the white of the lettering, it gets washed out. So I'm actually going to turn it back on. And you'll see it's going to get a little darker and makes it better to see. So I've now done my heading for my main page, and now I need to add some text down here in the bottom. So to do that, I'm going to go over here to the Insert menu, and I'm actually going to insert a text box, and that you can do just by clicking on this button right here. So I'm going to click, and now you can see it automatically put in a text box for me, and you'll see I've got those same blue circles on either side, and that's going to be important to remember because that's going to help us adjust the size. Now, what I want to do with this particular box, I'm not going to use the normal text because I actually want this to be a heading. I want this to be sort of a welcome banner to all of the people visiting my page. So I change this to heading, and I'm going to go over here now and I'm actually going to change the alignment to center. So I'm going to put in some text now. And here we have now my heading. So I'm going to now click out of that box, and you can see I've unselected or deselected that text box so I can get a feel for what it looks like. Now, what I want to do is in this space, I'm going to add another text box because I'd like to actually put in the class description. So I'm going to go ahead and click again. And when I do that, it automatically puts in another text box that's just underneath. Here, what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to keep this normal text, and I'm going to call this box description of the course. Now I'm going to put in a lot of nonsense text just to fill in the space. And what I actually want to do is I want to change the size of this so I can get it to be 2 columns. So I'm going to go back over here to the blue circle, and I'm going to grab it, and I'm going to drag it in. Now you see that when I do that, I get these guidelines that show up. And that's really helpful because that's actually going to help me size the text box appropriately. And what it does too is if I let go right here, it's going to snap to the closest one. So now I've got my description of the course here, and I'm actually going to put another box just in this area here, just to the right. And to do that, I'm going to add another text box, but when I do that, it's going to come underneath, and that's not a problem because we're going to adjust it and then move it. So now here, I want to put in my grading rationale. And again, I'll just put in some nonsense text. And I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to adjust the size. So I'm going to grab the blue circle, bring it over, have it snap to the grid. Now, you'll also notice too that when I go in here, there are these series of dots on the top and on the side. What this is going to allow me to do is actually move this text box into a different position. So I'm going to grab the one that's on top, and I'm actually going to slide it, and I'm going to slide it over, and I'm going to slide it up. So now it's actually right in line with the other text box. So everything is now balanced and even. So I've been able to create basically 2 columns right here on this main page. You could do 3 columns, you could do 1 column that's thinner, another column that's wider, all depending upon how you want it to look. So that's adding text boxes, and you'll notice that there are other options as well, like images. And so if I want to add an image to my page, another one, I'm just going to click that. And I'm going to get the same box that I had before. I have the upload option, the URL option, or the search option. So this time again, I'm going to search for another image, and I'm going to search for the Mont Blanc. And we get a nice mountain picture. And here we go. I'm going to add this one in. Again, it's free use, so I'm going to go ahead, select it, and it gets put right into the web page. Now again, if I want, I can move it. Maybe I want it on this side. Maybe I want it centered. Or maybe I want it bigger. So you can grab any of those blue circles. And again, you can make your adjustments. And you'll notice now it's made more space as I've added more items. So while in the beginning it was very short, as I've added items, the page has gotten longer. Now I can also embed a URL. So for example, if I wanted to add a link to Quizlet, I can do that. Now it's going to come up with the Quizlet symbol and the Quizlet address. So I'm going to hit add, and there it is. So it's made it a large image. I can also have it so I can open it in a new tab. So there it is in a new tab. I can also, by clicking on the gear, change any of these settings. So this is a link card. So I don't want to see the image, but I do want to see the title. So I'm going to leave that, and I'm going to click Done. Again, I can change the size, and maybe I can add some more items too. Upload, so if I have any documents like a PDF or even an audio that I want to add to a certain page, I can do that as well. So that's just as simple as clicking Upload and then either dragging and dropping or hitting Select Files and going into your Google Drive to find the document you want to add. Underneath, you'll see you also have the option of linking to items in your drive, embedding YouTube videos, adding a calendar, and a map. Let's look at the YouTube option. So I'm going to click on YouTube, and here comes the search bar, and I'm going to see if there's anything here for Chamonix. So we have here short video of Chamonix Mont Blanc, French Alps. Looks pretty good. I think for our purposes, it's going to work. So I'm going to put that in. And now what's going to happen is I've got this video and it's embedded in the page. The students don't need to go to YouTube to access it. I am going to make it just a bit bigger so that students will be able to see it. And now it's not going to play while I'm in the editor mode, but once we go to the view mode, we will be able to see it. So again, any of these elements you can move around, adjust, resize, and they do snap to grid. So it really becomes a very easy and user-friendly tool. Now that I've created a web page, a website, I'm actually going to give it a name. So I'm back up here at the very top, and right here where it says untitled site, I actually need to give it a title. So since we all will be creating websites, it might be good to use the same system to name them. So what we're looking at is probably using the initials for our school. So we'll do JBHS. And then I'm going to put my last name, Smith, and then the first initial, and probably after that, the name of the course. Okay, so you'll see now it's all named, and it's following this system that hopefully students will be able to follow, and in order to find another teachers, they'll just apply the same system. So now it's named, it's been saved, and what we want to do is we actually want to preview it and see what it looks like. So if I go back up to the top, I'll notice I have some of these icons up here. This one is an undo. This one is a redo button. And next to it we have the I, which indicates that I can preview it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the preview button. And now this is what the website is actually going to look like to those who visit the page. So I can scroll down, I can see here's that image that I put in. And if I go further, there's that Quizlet link I had, and here's that video of Chamonix. So I'm going to just click it, give you an idea. Then it's going to play right in the video. All right, so you get an idea that that works right there in the video. If they want, they can either make it full screen or see it in YouTube if they want. Now, you'll notice down here at the bottom with this menu, this is what the preview will look like on a full-size computer screen. If you go over to the left, you'll see that you can change the view, so you'll see what it's going to look like on a tablet, like an iPad or any other tablet device. The other one, which is the more interesting one, is actually the mobile device. So all of our sites that we create will be accessible to the students on their cell phones and mobile devices. So this is what it'll look like to them. Now to exit, what we're going to do is we're going to click here and we're going to exit the preview, and we're back into the editing mode. You'll notice also that there is the share feature, but keep in mind this is only if you're going to share with another teacher who's going to also have editing rights. So for example, if you are co-teaching a course, or if you are deciding to build a department website and you want everyone in the department to have access, you would add them here. And they would be able to edit the site themselves. You wouldn't be doing this with the students. The students will be viewing the final product on the end side. All right, so let's go back. And now you're going to see that there is the Publish button. So we've created this, but it's not necessarily live yet. There's no web address to visit. There's no links. There's nothing for the students to see. So what we have to do is we actually have to now publish it. So I'm going to hit Publish. And you'll see that it's going to ask me to complete the site address name. So it probably is a good idea to use the same system that we devised before. So the school's initials, your last name, first initial, and then the class name. Now you're going to have to watch out because certain characters are not available for use. So you'll notice it says only lowercase letters, numbers, and dashes. So instead of using the slash, I'm actually going to use a dash, and then I'll put the last two letters. Down here you're going to see it says who can visit my site. We probably want to make this visible to parents as well. So in order to do that, we'd have to click anyone on the web. And whether you want your site to be searchable, that's up to you. So we have everything all set. My web address is okay. You can see here the blue check means it's not a problem and that it should publish without any complications. So I'm just going to go ahead and click Publish. So the site has now been published, and you'll notice that that icon up here has actually changed. It's no longer just publish, it's actually publish with a pull down arrow. So if we pull that down, you'll see that you can actually go back to that menu and adjust the settings. So if you decide that you want your site to be searchable, you can click that. You can also view the published site. So this is a way to see what it will actually look like and have access to the link. So here's the final product. Now you'll see that up here in the web address bar is the address that you would share with parents and students. You could post that on your Edline page, or you could print it out and put it in your classroom and ask the students to save it as one of their favorites. So I'm going to close out of here, and I'll show you too that if you for whatever reason need to unpublish your website, you can do that as well. Now there's also a more options button. You can check the site analytics, see how many people have visited. You can send feedback to Google, which is always a great idea because they do listen to the comments and they do make adjustments. You can search the help menu if you're stuck for something, and as well you can take the tour if you feel like doing that as well. One last important piece is that if you do make changes or updates to your website, let's just do one now. Let's say I want to add another image, and I'm going to search for, let's see, something good. I want to put in the French flag. We'll do this. So I've added this to the website. Okay. But just because I've made the change here doesn't necessarily mean that the change is actually going to occur on the live site itself. So for example, if I went to the address, here's the web address, here's my site, and I go down, it's not here. It's not here because I haven't published the changes yet. So what's very important is every time I make a change to the website, I have to make sure to republish. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm actually going to republish. There we go. And if I do that, and I go back here, and I refresh, now I can see the change that I made. Here's that image that I put in. So very important to always remember to republish after you make a change. So that's it for this first edition, just showing you how to get set up with your main page. In the next one, I'm going to be talking about pages and how you can add pages and do a navigation. Each episode will have some more information and as well get a little bit more advanced in the presentation. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and send an email to me. My email address is edsmith@er9.org. Thanks again, and see you soon.